Hello, my name is Carrie, and I'm one of the librarians here at the Thomas Crane Public Library. I'm happy to be joined today by Caroline Kautsiri, author of the new book, What Kind of Girl? Caroline is going to be joining us for an upcoming program on May 17th at 7 p.m. as part of our Author Talk series. Caroline, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
We're happy to have you. Could you tell me a little bit about your background, how you got started writing? I know you're a local author, but can you tell us where you're from?
Sure. So I'm originally from Malawi, Africa, and I've lived in America for 17 years. I live in Weymouth, Massachusetts, and I'm an English professor at Bunker Hill Community College and Bay State College. So when it comes to my writing, the interesting thing is that when I was in high school, I couldn't write to save my life. And when I moved to America, I developed a huge passion for literature. And that kind of resulted to working on my writing. So that's how I began writing. But if I'm to say serious writing, that's age 27. I was kind of feeling a little lost in life. And I decided to visit Malawi after being away for 7 years. And just being around the people, being around the culture, I started documenting my life. And whether people were welcoming me or alienating me from Malawi, I wrote about it on social media. People said, turn this into a book. So I enrolled at Emerson College and I started writing What Kind of Girl?
Oh, that's great. Well, you just debuted your first title. This is a coming of age novel. Is this your preferred type of genre to write in, or do you like dabbling in all types of literature?
I do dabble in all types of literature, but I will say that nonfiction is something that is powerful to me because I like to write about my perspective as a young Black woman living in America, looking in on America and kind of having this outside perspective. And so I've been writing memoirs and I enjoy poetry as well. I use poetry to articulate things that go unnoticed or things that are usually overlooked. And I advocate for change. I instill hope in people through poetry. So yes, I prefer nonfiction and it kind of trickles into my poetry as well.
That's great. So as part of your upcoming talk, what do you hope to share with our patrons and viewers during the discussion? Can you give us a little bit of a preview as to what to expect?
Sure. I want my viewers to know that my book is a conversation starter about how awkward it is to grow up. Like growing up can be very confusing. And I want them to know that having a Malawian life, like an upbringing that takes place in Malawi, can shed light onto other people's coming of age stories, and they can think about their lives and how they turned out as well. Being raised in a culture where I had the British culture, American culture, and the African culture kind of swirling in my head, these things kind of clashed, and I became very confused about things like gender or class or religion, sexuality, and even language itself. So this book kind of doesn't portray Africa as this third world stereotype, but, you know, a real place with real families. Think of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the show, and just imagine that it's an African family. So something like that. And I will talk a little bit about the dynamics of that kind of culture.
It sounds like it's going to be a very intellectual discussion as well as very literary.
Yes, definitely.
So my next question for you is what compels you to write? And do you have any tips for any aspiring authors, especially some of our local aspiring authors?
Sure. I would say I urge writers to find the strength to use their voices in the most purest, honest ways possible. I think there is power in weaving these narratives that help people understand the world better. And I think that there is power in raising awareness about things that go unnoticed. This is why I write. So writers must seize the opportunity to write as a means to impact the world positively. I think we have this responsibility to provide knowledge and to cure ignorance. So let's not take it for granted. Let's create stories and expressions that will deepen our readers' lives with the power of the words that we've chosen. So I would urge everybody to kind of find that strength, to think about what it is they're trying to communicate with the world. We can bring change. We can raise awareness. We can provide knowledge, and it's a powerful thing.
It is. It is. I think that's why so many of us do what we do.
Yes.
The impact of the written word. Well, now to get to know you a little bit outside of your book, who are some of your favorite authors? Who do you admire? What type of style do you try to emulate within your writing? Is there anyone that you've really looked to for inspiration?
Absolutely. I enjoy Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou, for their ability to weave stories with words that keep you on your toes. I mean, read their stories. Every line, every sentence is doing something with our imaginations. It's like words doing backflips. And I want to write like that, to move people and to make them think critically and enjoy it at the same time. And I feel like Maya Angelou and Toni Morrison do that for me. I also enjoy the Nigerian writer Chimamanda Adichie, and she's very good at figurative language, representational language. So metaphors, similes, and I feel like she knows how to bring Africa to life because she knows how to liken it to things that are unfamiliar to us, familiar and unfamiliar to us. And I want to do that with Malawi, to make it a real place for people and use metaphors that magnify it so much, that amplify what Africa is. And finally, Trevor Noah. I read his book, Born a Crime, when I was trying to finish off my book, What Kind of Girl? And he's got this charm. There's a way that he writes that reminds you of how he does his stand-up comedy. And I wanted to find my style that I can write in a pure, raw, and honest voice, and people will still recognize my personality. So these are just some of the writers that have influenced my writing for What Kind of Girl, and also in my poetry as well.
Well, all of that sounds really quite fascinating. I'm so excited to hear what you have to say during your program. Again, that is our upcoming Author Talk series on May 17th at 7 p.m. with Caroline Coetzee. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too. I appreciate it.